Echo.
Sure.
Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to it. It's another edition of the Triple T, the Tasty Teardown Tuesdays, where we tear down a device, we talk to a guest, or we just have a good time. Beers with friends, guys. Beers with friends is very important. My friend tonight has gone and hung. Let me do this. Oh my word. Are we gonna? There we go. Mr. Tony
Oh,
B. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. I'm
Great.
not drinking beers today though, because it's only 1 o'clock and I still got a little bit of work to do. So unfortunately, here, hold on. Where's my? Here we go. I'll cheers you with this. There we go.
Yeah, it's just started again. Oh, there we go. You're back. I'll just have to keep on checking that if you don't pause. Well, salute. It's 8 o'clock for
Salute
me.
with water.
Didn't
What is
definitely
it?
beer
Work.
time.
Yeah. Well, besides, part of my work is, I'm going to. I just did a unboxing and build of a new electric bike, and I've got to go do a first ride to get some first impressions on this thing, so I can do the video. And my wife won't let me go out after I've been drinking. She's like,
Yeah,
"Nope."
I think that's a good idea. I mean, good idea
Look, if
versus
I
a.
was single, I'd be out there riding them, no problem. Be like, "Let me go get some more beer on it." But she's like, "No."
Okay, with
In
Mr.
the
Tony
end,
B.
probably very good though. I mean, I do wear protective gear. I've got my cool helmet and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I saw that one with the mirror.
the visor, it
Yeah.
looks like Daft Punk or, like I'm going to go get on SpaceX or something, but it's pretty cool. It's intimidating though, because some of my neighbors here, they didn't know who I was when I was riding with that thing on. I've got all my gear on, my knee pad, those carbon fiber knee and shin pads. And, I've got a armored flannel that I wear.
Yeah.
And so I came rolling up on one of them
Is
and
it
they were like,
armored?
"What's that?"
The flannel, has it got protection
Yeah.
in it? Because I saw
Yeah.
like when you're holding the boomstick, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Yo, you've been training or something?" Because every time I see you, like lost a little more
Well,
weight, looking a little more fit. Now you like chunked up.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
look, I am looking a little bit better. I
yeah,
mean, it's a lot of weight. Dude, I was 245 down to what, about 195. Oh, it's not too bad.
I'm trying to get there.
It's just, well, you've lost weight, but
Yeah, like I want to be
yeah.
190.
At the lowest, 88, a little bit. It's cool, bro.
Yeah, that's
I was
because
like,
you're not a short guy
you know
either.
what I
That's not
thought?
good.
I thought you looked like Rip Trippers, man.
A little.
No,
Oh,
anyways, to finish that story, I rolled up
yeah.
on my neighbor and I was like, "Hey," and they're like, "Hey," and oh, I went my neighbor and I was like, "Hey," and they're like, "Hey," and oh, I went, "Dude, it's just flipped up the thing." And they're like, "Dude, that thing's
It's
kind of
you.
scary looking." I'm like, "That's right, I'm RoboCop."
Or you could just like cruise around the parks and then go straight to a mixing deck and just start making music without taking it off.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect setup.
Well, Craig, big guy, Stuart is in, says, "What's up?" from Facebook. Thank you very much. Free Ride Vapor says, "Hi, everyone," from YouTube. Vapor Queen Becky in YouTube. Hi, all. Tim B, freezies. Or you could just like cruise around the parks. There we go. I'll wait for you. You got it.
Okay, I fixed it.
Kaiser Sosa's in the house. Tony B, top man. And then Queen Becky is just helloing everybody. If you can see, Tony, the comments are just below here. Nice big bold
Yeah.
lettering. Oh, see, I thought this thing was that thing, but it's not. There we go. Now you're back.
Okay, I see it now.
Cool.
Good
So
on you, man.
it's been a while since you've been on the show. Just a little
It
while.
has.
The Pulse Aio Mini, this one right here, has launched as it was supposed to middle of December.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Malaysia and Indonesia and those Asian countries, it shipped out on like the 20th, I think, of December, and for the rest of the world around the 25th. for whatever reason, these things are huge in Indonesia and Malaysia. So they're like, we got to take care of those markets first. So I was like, that's fine with me.
Really?
Yeah, that's where a good maybe 60-70% of the sales come from. It's amazing.
Wow. I
Um,
thought they were all like
yeah, so
making it up.
I don't know. The thing is, it's so hard to get the stuff over there. I'm like, well, how are you even getting it? You know what I mean? Because I talk to people from over there and they're like, yeah, it's very difficult. And some places it's illegal and whatever else. I
Yeah,
thought
and
that was
isn't
pretty crazy.
disposables illegal there as well?
I think they're probably more illegal than the other stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
why. The disposable thing is that's a really weird thing, right? I mean, it's like it's a love-hate thing for me. I like to have them around. I
Yeah.
want to always have a couple of them because there's times where I'm like, I don't want to take my expensive vape with me. And I'm even talking a $60 vape because I don't want it to get destroyed or whatever. And so I just grab one of those. And it's great for travel, man. You know,
I
you can
think
use those things
that
just
was
about
going to
anywhere.
be one of the questions for tonight, how you feel about the vaping explosion and your views on it. What do you think? Is it dying down?
Well, yeah, I would say, look, I can only talk about my perspective and where I'm at. And for example, I used to have so much stuff coming in here from so many different vape companies, Sagale, Kanger, all that kind of stuff, which all those companies are gone, mind you. There was so much stuff coming in here that my house looked like a vape shop. And it no longer does. That's fine with me. It's good. There's just a lot less products actually, I think, being released overall and a lot less of them coming through, at least to this reviewer. Um, so, I think in that respect, yeah, I think that, here's the thing: people they're really upset about all these disposables, but okay, somebody must be buying them,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if nobody's buying these
The
disposables, they're not
kids,
going to
the
make them.
kids are buying them because they're fun
Oh,
flavors and they're colorful and bright.
well, just like the kids are buying those flavored seltzers and the boozes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's,
Um,
there's teenagers buying crack as well. Like, you know,
Yeah, and I've had a couple companies approach me about doing disposables, and I'm like, look, I use them. I like them for their purpose. They're not my everyday thing, but I understand if somebody's a smoker and they want to get off of cigarettes, I don't care what effing way you use vape to get you off of cigarettes, as long as you get off of it. And I think a lot of those people that, if you're already inclined to go a step further, then whatever, when you buy a pair of headphones, nope, I need a better pair of headphones. Nope, I need a better camera. If you're
that's,
already inclined, then you're going to move up with other vape products.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the way I've told them is I'm like, there are only a couple things that would tip the scales for me as far as doing a disposable with the company. One, if you had a really good and responsible recycle program. Disposable shouldn't mean I throw everything away.
Yeah. Or
Disposable means when
the,
I'm done,
the disposables
yeah, I
made
do.
of recycled products like Riot Squad is doing in the UK. 80% of
Right.
their
Okay, so that's great.
disposable is made of recycled products. So,
That's a good step.
yeah.
I would like to see them though make it so that like point of sale would have maybe a drop box. You could go in and drop those things off in that drop box, and you would get in return like a $5 coupon towards your next purchase, or maybe turn in 10 of these and get a free one.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Look, it benefits everybody. The company's going to sell more,
Well,
right? Because the person's going to know that they can do that. And people get caught up in those programs. I know I bought Marlboro stuff to get Marlboro miles back in the day. So I think if they did it right and the flavors weren't all ice and maybe you had a 25, uh, milligram nicotine and a 50, then yeah, then we could talk. I know in the EU you can't do over 25, right? Or is it 20?
yeah, over 20. So 2%
Yeah.
max with 800 puff maximum.
See, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Now over here, they're like 50 milligrams, 6,000 puffs.
We
I'm
struggling
like,
with
this is,
that same nonsense here as well. And it's, so I'm just
yeah.
keep on having to flip through because we're still having a pausing issue. Um,
Okay. One
the
of my questions about all these, though, that say that they're 4 and 6,000 puffs is I've never sat down and hash marked it out, and counted out.
your coil's gonna dry, your battery's gonna die. There's something else gonna, even if it's
There
rechargeable.
can't be possibly enough liquid in there for 6,000 puffs.
Well, 6,000 puffs, I think, is only about 1.8 mils. No, no. It's got to be
You think?
5.2 mils would give you six,
Uh,
but something like that. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think the disposable thing is where returning it, and I try to do this with bottles, with the old
yeah,
bottles, because these are
right.
all they marked for PET, so recyclable. Gorilla,
Okay.
chubby gorilla, and whatever PET. So if
Uh-huh.
you bring in this bottle, you get a dollar discount off your next juice. But if you bring this bottle and you buy the same brand, you get a $2
Uh-huh.
discount. That way, it's
Oh, see,
more
that's
beneficial to the juice manufacturer that they're going to sell more of their juice.
right, right,
And you could do that with disposables. $2 if you buy the same brand, $1 if you're just returning it. Bring in 10, get free.
right.
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
good.
good
I don't go through
initiative.
as much juice these days because I've been using a lot of AIOs. You just don't, use as much juice in an AIO.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I've been doing is I'm just keeping all my bottles and I'm popping the top off, cleaning them out, drying them out, and holding on to them because I also do DIY. So
Okay,
it's just I just keep reusing the same ones.
yeah. Okay, Richard Wales says, good evening. Christian Garden says, hello. Tony Ohm, XO, Steam Pugs is in the house. Corvus Corva is in the house. Gary the Gun is in the house. Daniel Gomes is in the house. Cool. Michael Horn's here too. So the Pulse Aio Mini improved from the second generation Pulse
Yep.
Aio, but it comes with this really cool, I don't know if my lighting's going to work, this really cool
There
new
you go.
vessel V2, which
Yeah.
is a Boro device that fits into billet boxes and other Boro devices, which is a very smart
Right.
move.
Hmm.
How'd you get that together? Did
Well,
you
the
did you
the
want
first
it like that in the
vessel.
beginning?
Well, the first vessel. Okay, so the first vessel, I was like, look, that was kind of an afterthought of making the mod. We were making this mod, and I was like, because at first I thought, do we just include a tank in there, like a borrowed tank or what? And that's kind of where we were going. And then when we got a little bit closer to finishing the mod, I went, let's do a vessel tank, and we'll do it like, kind of like the vape snail style tank, right? And I figured, well, but we'll just make it all proprietary. It's inexpensive. It's no big deal. Probably not as many people are going to keep it and use it because they're buying this because they want to use a bunch of bridges. As it turns out, it turned out pretty darn good, but it wasn't very flexible. Then when we started looking at the vessel two, I said, okay, well, let's do this. I wanted to move the juice flow down to the sides. I figured that would be a little bit more effective. Sometimes when it's on the top, you get like a vapor lock because it's not bubbling properly or
Yeah.
whatever. And so you'll end up with drier cotton. So move it down to the sides and everything. And I said, can we just make this so that you can take it out and put it in another Boro tank? They said, yeah, we can do that. So I started, putting that stuff into drawings and all that. And when it came out, I was like, yeah, that looks really nice. Plus the airflow, I wasn't a big fan of the airflow on the original one. Again, kind of an afterthought,
Yeah.
like, oh, we'll just put an airflow like standard Boro airflow, you know. So I wanted to make a better airflow. So I think it all came together really nicely.
No, it did.
And plus,
Absolutely.
by doing this, when we did that, it made everything smaller inside the chamber. So it's a tighter chamber and better flavor and everything else. So I was like, yeah, I'm way happy with this. Now, the engineers there are really good. I'm pretty crude with my drawing sometimes. It's like Apple iPad and Apple Pencil. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. Point this to that. I don't do 3D CAD and all that, but they do. And they'll send me that 3D CAD and I'll look at it and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I like that, but change this, that kind of thing. So that's kind of how the creative process on that goes.
Yeah.
But the only thing, I've gotten a little bit of flack on, well, why didn't you just make that tank so that you could put other borrowed bridges in it? And well, that really wasn't my intention. My intention was to make it so that you could use my bridge inside of my tank or whatever tank you want to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I wouldn't say flack for that, but I
kind of
mean,
a
it's such
trade-off.
a small little thing that if you've got another bridge, you've got another borrowed box for it to go in.
Yeah, usually you do.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had known that that tank would have been popular enough to maybe just sell the tank by itself, then maybe we would have went that way. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it takes a lot of work to do these things, and you do want to be able to make some money, you know. So if you make something that doesn't sell, that's not good.
No, and I think the whole idea of putting your borer, even with the first vessel, which I thought works fantastically. I've used
It's
it in other
good.
devices.
Hmm.
Uh, Question: are these
Yeah.
Pulse AIOs, are the boards waterproof like the other Pulse?
The boards on these are not waterproof. The board on the Squonk is,
Yeah,
on this it is not. And the reason for that is because it's kind of like a two-piece board. If you look at it, you can see it's like a two-piece
yes,
board in
yeah, yeah,
there. And you would have had to do this whole ceiling thing all the way around it, and it would have cost more. And they said, it's really just not feasible. I said, okay, well, But for that matter, I mean, I've gotten juice in there, putting a different boro in there and having it do a dump,
yeah,
and it hasn't been a problem. As a matter of fact, in the Pulse Aio group the other day, I finally found the video that they had made originally when the frames were cracking on the original one. What they wanted to do is just send the frame, no chip, nothing else. And they wanted you to take the chip and everything out of your original one and move it over. And I said, man, that's way too much to ask anybody. No, what if I don't know how to use a soldering iron or whatever? And they said,
yeah,
you don't have to. And they sent me this video. I was like, well, how long would the video be? It's like a minute and 30. Literally just take the screws out, take
yeah,
off the panel, take out the four, maybe it's three screws for the board and stuff. Take that out. There's copper that touches the other contact, pull that contact out. So it's like a minute and 30 this video, and it's not sped up either.
yeah,
Well, parts of it when they're unscrewing the screws, but so I mean, if you needed to clean this mod out, you could easily do that. I'm asking them to make the board available for replacements if somebody just wants to buy a board. So I don't know if they'll do that. China can be a little bit weird about some of their stuff.
yeah. I think that's a bit more of intellectual property that they don't want to let go. No, the reason
Yeah.
I asked about the waterproof is
Right.
I might have, you know, I might have flooded this like 6 times already, and it's still working. I think
Right.
yeah, I got them all a couple of months before the launches, so this one must be almost a year old. When did the first Pulse launch?
I mean, they're Ewok Tony B room, man. You
Ev-
know,
you yeah, you should have seen Steam disposables. I,
right.
I feel the same disposables in my store, and maybe some to the relief of some people, because last year I said,
Right.
look, things are getting tight, need to like up the game here. I'm going to start stocking disposables. It was kind of debated over December. I decided not to. I don't
Yeah.
put any shame on any vape store that's stocking
Right.
disposables. You got to stay in
Well,
business, and I feel that disposables is kind of a fad. There are people like my aunt. She's 50 years smoker, and
yeah.
there's not a chance she would even pick up any device that I give her. But when I show
Right.
her disposable, she's like, "Oh, that's quite cute." She's happy to use that.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
it
I could
doesn't
use
taste
that.
good, you just or the battery dies, you discard it and you get another one for $150, which is like maybe 2 or 3 times the price of a pack of cigarettes, but it lasts as long as that. So, I
Right.
mean, yeah, I think 800 puffs is your equivalent in a packet of cigarettes. There's 800
Right.
puffs in a pack of smokes. So,
Well, that
one,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what the
That's
TPD
probably why
was.
that's probably why they made the regulation as such. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, as far as the Pulse AI 0.5 goes, oh man, I got to tell you, we started off with the 21700, and I thought that felt pretty good in the hand, but man, that feels it doesn't feel
yeah.
amazingly smaller. It doesn't look it.
That's them side by side,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this one is so easy to. And I think there's a couple of people that are going to say the same thing. Once I started, now obviously I've always had billet boxes, I've always had borrow devices, and I always kind
Right.
of gravitate back to my big devices. But I'm not saying that the Pulse made me do it, but I was at a stage I hadn't used anything else except an AIO for months, and I was like, "What's going on here? I don't
Right.
like I don't like little tiny single coil things.
Right.
I like big
Yeah.
clouds. I'm a man, and yeah, it's just so handy.
Right.
It works. Did you see the button surround is acrylic now?
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I will put it in the bag for you.
I definitely like that. Yeah. I see. I don't have any custom mini stuff yet at all.
Oh, we're working on the internals as well. Um,
Yeah.
we
Well, I
worked
like
on
that
them,
acrylic
and then we
housing.
didn't work on them because we didn't want to proceed the launch. So now we're back at work this week, so we're gonna hammer it really hard and get that out.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty stoked with it, and I hope people like it. That's the bottom line. I mean, there's always going to be waves of different stuff. I mean, of course, the AIOs and the Billet box and Boro stuff got really, really popular. Um, I always seem to be right around the right time, because it takes a long time to put these things together and put them out. So if anybody is like, well, oh, he just jumped on the train, I'm like, okay, no, I was preceding the train. I
Yeah,
just happened to get to the station when it did. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
No,
Yeah,
I was I don't want to say mad at you because you're my friend, but
yeah,
when you
right.
sent me that message with the first pulse, and you're like, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you one of the," I was like, don't
Why?
say it's 21700." You're like 21700. I was like, "Don't tell me it's Boro compatible, Boro compatible." I was like, and then I think I still said, "Does the tank fit in the opposite side than the chip?" And you were like, "Definitely." And I was like, "Damn it, man!" I threw all my papers away. I was like,
Check,
"Tony's wrecked it."
check.
No, but that's exactly like this is the most important part of a reviewer being a
Right.
hobbyist vapor. And a lot of times you see names attached to things, and you're like, "Did you think about that?" Like,
Like that's kind of conspicuous,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's a bit weird. But the fact that you designed this thing from a hobbyist's point of view checks
Right.
all the boxes, and I think that's why it's done so well. And
And
because your name's attached to it.
and like $60, man, US.
Yeah, that
If you
was the
just get
most
the mod.
impressive.
I want to say US, these are gonna, I haven't even looked. I think like 55, and then with the tank, it's 65, maybe 70.
Such a good
That's,
price.
I mean, however, I have seen that SX Mini AIO, what VI
Yeah,
AIO from, yeah, SX from Yeehee. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I might want one of those, but I need it to, work with my, that right there, the Pandora .rba, that right there is a cheap .rba from Yacht Vape, but it's kind of my favorite right now. Really good
really.
flavor, easy to build, easy to maintain, and all that. The only thing is, it has airflow on the very bottom of it. It's underneath the tank, a hole that sticks straight down.
Uh,
So if you don't have a little gap in there, it does not work. This one does not work in this, which I love this mod, the
yeah,
Skunkworks with some Obey robot. And by the
yeah,
way, the button on this, so much better this way. But
yeah.
anyways,
I
it
actually
won't
had
work in
a
that
I had a
because
meeting
the speed
yesterday
lag.
about the aluminium doors for that for the skunkworks.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get it out
But
soon.
for that Skunkworks, the only thing that I don't love about it is the stock button. It's it just moves too much for me. And I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to
Yeah.
that. Like if my button's moving around, I'm like,
Well, my one that I've got doesn't move that much, but it does have when you're using it, it has a bit more wobbly play because it's
yes.
the button's not fixed to anything; it's magnetized in there.
Yeah, but if the magnets were a little bit bigger, like if they put some oval magnets in there instead of just little dots,
You see,
I
because
think it
then
would hold better.
thank you, thank
I think it would
you.
hold a little better.
I think
That's
I'll do that because then, yeah, because then you've
that's how
got
the
two
brain works.
laterals holding the button in position. When you've got 4
Right.
points, it could go to either
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
I will incorporate that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that works better for me because the little dots, of course, it has movement that way
Yeah, yeah.
on either side of the. Well, there's a freebie.
There, well, I'll on the back of the button I'll inscribe Tony designed.
Well, no, no, okay. Well, so yeah, this stuff all goes in waves. I see a big push right now for squonks. People are like, "Oh man, got to bring back the squonk." And I saw a pretty good meme, "Make America Squonk Again." That was pretty good.
I,
Little play on the Trump.
I know you say that. The ripsaw that I brought out, I
Uh-huh.
specifically designed it for squonking. The pin sits 2 mils higher than the deck, so you've got a 2 mil level.
Okay,
You've got a 5 or 7 mil juice well. It's designed around squonking, and I might not have hit all the markers on the first try, but
sure.
that design was completed in 2019, and in December, when I was in Birmingham in November,
Yeah.
I spoke to Dovpo and they were like, yes, let's do it. We're keen. And then by the end of December, they were like, we're going in lockdown. So I kind of shelved the project. And then I found another company that was willing to try and do it. It still took 2 years through
Yeah.
COVID to try and get it done.
Well, working with China during COVID has been a challenge.
It's a
I'll just
nightmare.
say that.
So,
I mean, even people don't realize it, but during the whole time with all that warranty stuff with the Pulse, the original OG Pulse with the frames, they did a fantastic job of
yeah,
replacing these things. Even though some people are like, "Oh man, I was waiting 12 weeks." I'm like, "Well, I mean, one, it's China. Two, have you ever seen a vape company actually
never,
honor their warranty?
never.
Never.
Not in
Three, well,
that
maybe.
capacity.
DovPo has done some. Three, they had COVID. The restrictions there meant that the team was like one person for customer service. Chelsea has done a fantastic job with all this.
Yeah,
And then they were dealing with challenges that not only staffing and getting the things actually made and everything, but sending them to other countries. A lot of countries now, US included, do not allow these Chinese companies to send products directly to consumers. They can send them to me because I have a business,
yeah,
and I'm a reviewer and whatever else, but you can't just send it to Joe down the street.
yeah, yeah.
So they have to send
Non-obligatory
them.
shipping.
Yeah, they were sending them in batches, like, okay, well, here's 200 of them for 200 people that made their claims going to the US. It has to go to somebody with a retail license. And then that retailer then had to break all that down. So now you're counting on another spoke in the wheel.
Yeah,
Had to break all that down and then take those and individually package them to send them out to the people.
the correct addresses.
It's going to take a while,
Yeah,
but they've gotten them all out to people, and it's pretty amazing. There's just a couple of the stragglers that for whatever reason, I mean, you got to remember China does block some emails and things like that randomly. If they didn't get a response in 4 weeks, I was like, send me a DM, and then I'd get it up with the team. And I mean, it's been quite a thing. But look, I'm just stoked because the company to do as much as they did for that, I'm sure they lost money on that first batch of them. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So
No, definitely. I think
I
there
was like,
was a phenomenal ethic
yeah,
from Vandy Vape to be like that. Um, so the squonking thing,
yes.
because the only thing I use my ripsaw on is the Pulse 2 with the waterproof
And
board.
super popular mod. And I get messages all the time from people. This week I've already gotten two. Hey man, where can I find a Pulse V2 in the US? Well, for whatever reason you can't. I know they're still producing them
Yeah.
because I just got my report from them for December, and they produced I think 1,500 of them in December. So if you produced 1,500 of them, where are they going? Because it can't get. I asked them. I said, "Why can't you get them in the U.S.?" And they said, "Well, we don't have anybody in the U.S. that is buying them. Like no
Apparently, it's going
shops."
all to Malaysia and Philippines.
Well, the shops and distributors here in the U.S. are like, "No, that's over," because unfortunately, in vape world,
Yes.
if it's gone more than 6 months, it's over. 3 months for a lot of stuff.
2 weeks. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Vaporesso, they're like, or for well, the new Caliburn, I just reviewed one. It'll probably be out in 2 weeks. They probably already got it in the mail to me.
So that was
So,
one of my other questions that I had
Yeah.
pre-planned in my brain. As a vape
Uh-huh.
reviewer, did you see a drop off on vape mail? Because at some
Oh
stage
yeah.
we were seeing a new RTA every single week,
Oh
and
yeah.
then COVID kind of they stopped working on other designs, started maybe manufacturing disposables. But the other thing
Right.
that I saw is that companies were getting behind people like you and me and everyone else that the hobbyists. They were reaching
Right.
out more to people that had knowledge of the products, and they were just weren't banging out something every week. Did you notice a drop off in your review
Oh yeah.
stuff? Big time.
Yeah, just like I said earlier, I mean, I used to get stuff from, every week from Kanger and Segeli and,
Are
all
they
that kind of
gone?
stuff. And they're gone. I don't think there's that many companies that have really survived. And the ones that have maybe working together, like for example, with Tofo, that's smoke. They've been that for a long time. They don't talk about it, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are. So, there's only a few companies left. And I think part of that is I noticed one of the packages I got recently from Vaporesso had a sticker on there that said something about tobacco monopoly or something like that. So I think that the Chinese government may have made these guys consolidate a little bit. I know Vandivape is still separate. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But I think in order for them to keep their licenses and stuff like that, they may have had to consolidate. I don't know exactly, but so there's less companies, less products being made, and the stuff that is coming out, I'm like, it's pretty much the same. I mean, I'm still reviewing it. I get people who will be like, "Hey, I thought this is a vape channel." I'm like, "This is a channel where Tony B shares his favorite stuff." I mean,
Yeah. It was
if
very
I've
vape
got,
heavy in the beginning, but COVID
I mean,
things have dropped
yeah.
off.
I mean, I did start the channel because I had started vaping and because all the videos that I watched were either too long or there was too much cursing, and I knew that my mom wouldn't watch them and other people in my family that I was trying to get them to stop smoking. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll start a channel. But you know what? As I sat with my friend over in his living room at lunch one day, I was like, I don't want to name it, I don't want to be Tony Vapes or the vaping whatever, beach guy. I didn't want to be that because I didn't want it to just be about that. I said, look, if I can do more stuff on this channel, I want to. I have a lot of passions and stuff. It's just that I really couldn't because, as I said earlier, there was so much product coming into this house at one point that it looked like and
I remember
everywhere in
watching
there.
one of your videos maybe 2 years ago, or maybe like
Uh-huh.
2019 or something, and you were like,
Right.
vape mail, and you opened the door, and there was this big pile of stuff, and you were like, I
Uh-huh.
think your wife came to help you or something. You were passing parcels to her, and then the UPS guy was behind you going, "Here's like 6 more bags," and you're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
thanks."
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that maybe things are leveling off, and people, you could try to blame it on disposables, but I don't think that that's what it is. Again, if people weren't buying those disposables, they wouldn't be making them.
No,
But I think that it's leveled off. I think that we have a lot of hobbyists and people that are really committed to what we do.
yeah,
Um,
and I think
but you have a lot of the new
disposables is
people.
actually creating some more hobbyists.
I think it is. I think it is. And that's what's bringing people into it because it's
Yeah,
so much easier. I mean, every convenience store I go to here and grocery store, they have them right there at the register
yeah,
and they're in front instead of behind where the cigarettes are. So I can't see that as a negative. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You know,
I know
I
there
know
was a
people
comment
that,
the other day where the
yeah,
guy had his phone like in his pocket, so like a
uh-huh,
hidden cam, and he walked up to the counter. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was in Texas or something, but he was like, "Have you guys got Marlboro?" And then they had a black blind that the girl had to open up, and he was
yeah,
like, "Oh no, no, I was just asking if you've got them." And then he pans, and on the counter right in front of him is a stack of disposables. That the
right.
tobacco's got to be hidden away, but disposables are in the limelight, or the front of the counter,
Well,
like you say.
I'd like to see more of that, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
because tobacco, and here in the US, it hasn't changed. They're still trying to push it to that, but some things are changing a little bit. there's people that are coming back and saying, hey, that study was wrong. I was wrong to agree with that study, doctors and things like that. So that's good. Ultimately, what isn't our goal to get people to not smoke cigarettes?
And I think that's the
That's
tipping
mine.
point for disposables. The argument of disposables is in 2020, a lot of the companies stopped manufacturing vape RTAs, RDAs devices because of COVID and the restrictions and all of this.
Right.
So we saw an influx in the disposable market that may just have brought in, and I'm not talking about people that were tobacco users, like combustible tobacco users, and then they were going to become hobbyists. I'm talking about the people that used disposables instead of tobacco, never became hobbyists, but also gave up. Like, I think there's a point
Yeah.
to it, and the
Yeah.
availability. I would just say one thing about disposables, especially for South Africa, that there should be a legislation that the coil is removable from the battery. And I know that makes it a pod system, but it's also a closed system, just purely for
Right.
safety reasons, that doesn't auto fire or something, because everyone's had a disposable that's auto fired. Um, I've had very
Or
high
even,
end mods
or
that
even
have auto fired. It's the same thing.
maybe you put a switch on them, put a
Yeah.
switch because you're right. Because if you're flying in an airplane, that pressure change that can make them fire. I've had one fire in my backpack. There's vapor coming out of my backpack. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And the flight attendant comes walking by. I'm like, I promise you, I was not touching that. It was in my backpack. I'll show you. And she's like, it's okay. I've seen it before.
No,
Also,
really.
yeah, I was at an expo one time, and it was, I think it was back when, remember the Stig? That
Yeah.
little tiny black, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a Stig, and I was enjoying one. I was like, hey, this is kind of nice. I picked this up here at the show, and I'm using it. And he goes, oh, watch this. He had his car there. It was in Las Vegas, and he had a audio system with real deep bass, sub bass, subwoofers. And he said, okay, cranked it up. And as that thing was doing it, it was firing, as the bass was pounding, it was firing off that mod. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, because the auto draw is basically a little diaphragm that flicks up and
Diaphragm.
down. So as you draw, it lifts it up. And I never thought
There
of
you
that.
go.
I had a disposable. I wasn't live, but I was in my Patreon room, and
Uh,
I put it on the deck, and I had this, like one of those Chinese waterfalls they call it. This
yeah.
smoke all over the desk, and I was like, I've got a fan blowing on me. Like, where's this? And I looked at it, and I picked it up, and it was just, and what had happened? Some juice had gotten into that
Clogged
diaphragm
up
and
the
just
mechanism.
set it the wrong way. So the juice
Yeah.
was in the auto switch. When I dragged on it
Right.
and I put it down, I activated it, and it, because of the juice, it couldn't go back down.
Right.
So that's my, if you're talking about making disposables with your name on it,
Yeah.
coil
I just don't.
separates,
That's
or even like a little slide switch that just raises it so it separates from the contact, something like that.
sure. Sure. Yeah. I've turned down probably 10 companies that came to me about doing a disposable. I was like, it just doesn't.
It doesn't fit with the
Yeah.
brand. I know
It
it's,
really doesn't.
no, it's still vaping, but it's still helpful to other people, but it's not vaping. It's
Yeah.
not hobbyist vaping, which is what we set out to do.
Right. Well,
I
I am
think.
interested to see, speaking of hobbyists though, I'm interested to see what will come out with squonks, because if there's a push for more squonks, I mean, hey, that's great.
So
I
are
I
you
never
are
stopped
you
using them.
working on another skunk?
It might be,
Yeah.
hey.
It's good because you know
Yeah,
my
I've
address.
I've I have alluded to a little bit of that on Facebook. I mean, I never stop working on stuff, and there could possibly be maybe I'm not looking at making a new RSA. I don't even know why we have another designation, by the way. Why does we have to call it an RSA? An RDA. I'm not working on another dripper or another squonking RDA. Um, but I might be working on something. That should be enough.
And this thing that you're not actually working on, is it going to come
Mhm.
with an RDA on it? Because I mean, your fashion of pulses has been straight out the box use.
Yeah. Some of them. There have been some where we released them without an RDA. As a matter of fact, the Pulse V2, did that have an RDA in it?
No, mine just came in the box.
Yeah,
I think they
yeah.
sent me like two
So
or three of them.
and then we did the Pulse Requiem PRSE, and that one was it was basically the Pulse V2 with the Requiem RDA and different
Yeah.
panels, which is what
Yes,
I
yes,
tell
yes. I
people to
remember
look
that.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I tell people to look for if they can't find the Pulse V2.
The Requiem
But
was very highly regarded as an RDA, though. In its own
it was
right,
good.
even though as it
Yeah,
came as a kit, the Requiem was one of the top ones that in that year.
yeah, I liked it quite a bit. In fact, that Requiem RTA they just put out is pretty good. But yeah, I might be working on something, man.
All right, well, I'll send
We
you
might
a
be.
rib saw and some snacks.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
Why didn't I see a South African version of snacks on your food
Well,
channel?
that's a good question. Okay. Well, this time I'll do that.
Okay.
Look at it. Hold on. Wait. Look at this.
Oh,
I still
I
have
can't
one of
believe you
these
still
left.
got them.
There's just one.
Yeah,
Well,
I used to bag, and I stopped doing it. Obviously, in COVID, it was difficult to find that box of speckled eggs, and I used to
yeah,
put a bag of speckled eggs in every order that went out. And I had a guy
yeah.
from the US email us back and go, so I would
How
like
do I
to
get
acquire
those?
more products, but I don't want anything vape. I just want those speckled eggs. Can I buy like 10 bags of them? So
Right. They're very good.
they're
Yeah.
addictive.
Like I was saying earlier, though, I used to buy Biltong here in the US. I won't even buy it now. I'm like, no, I'll just buy jerky if I'm getting the US stuff because it's just not quite the same. But yes, Biltong from South Africa
I'll
is
send
good
you two parcels because I don't want my vape shit going missing because of TPA and stuff like that. But
because food. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I gave you the
Yeah.
links to that. I think in California the place is called Safari Hut, and the other one in Florida is called Little Britain.
Okay.
And you can buy proper Vorse and Biltong from Little Britain. I think they've
Okay.
got two locations in Florida.
All
But
right. Well,
so EVs, as you
yeah,
said,
dude.
people have questioned that is this a vape channel? So all you have to do is when you're riding your electric skateboard, just vape a little, and then
Right.
people will be like, ah, it's still
Well,
vaping.
the other thing is, look, see, these things have no emissions, and if they did, it would be a vapor trail channel. So,
Ah, exactly. That's it. It's
oh,
no
but
emissions
I didn't,
vapor.
fin- I didn't finish the story about how the channel got
Sorry.
named.
Oh
So
yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking, I want this channel to be, for me to be able to do other stuff on here. If it's something I love guitars, I love all electronics. I'm a huge geek. That's why the digital form of smoking was so appealing to me. I was like, oh, that sounds great. That's technology. Um, so my friend and I were like, well, we're both Rush fans, the band Rush, and he had the album sitting right there that said Vapor Trails, and I went, "That's it, man. I'll call it Vapor Trail." It could be from a vape. It could be many things, but
Yeah, and it's
yeah. So
also
these
a
EVs,
trail of where you've been because you vaping.
that's
So
true.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So the EVs, I started off because, well, I live in a condominium and I can't, I was like, I can't even, there's no place to, you have to, for an electric bike, it has to be inside or in a garage or something like that. It can't be outside, right? Because it's electronics and those things aren't waterproof like you would want them to be. So I said, well, I've always liked skating. I've got a couple of skateboards, and what about a killer electric skateboard? And then we had the gas line, the pipeline here was hacked in the bottom part of the United States on the East Coast, and we couldn't get gas for like a week. So I went, I got to get something electric. So I looked into electric skateboards. I bought one about $1,500. That's the Lycon. Oh, it's a great board. And I got out and rode that thing, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna make videos with these. Why not?
no,
I'm
yeah.
gonna review these.
I think
These are a
you
lot of fun.
probably I haven't looked into it much because these products aren't available in South Africa, but I
Right.
think you're one of the foremost authorities on EVs, electronic vehicles for people that are not savvy. Yeah. So
There's there's a couple of really good channels. Scott Davies, he's in Australia. Daniel Kwan is in China. And there's a few channels that are very, very good, and much respect to them. I wouldn't call myself the foremost on that at all, but I know a lot about them. I'm learning, and I've now got about what 12 electric skateboards. Got a couple of electric scooters. I have a new scooter that's coming. Oh man, this one's coming directly from China. I had to go through Alibaba to get the dang thing. The company did give me a little bit of a price break on it, but shipping on the thing was $800. It's 45, yeah, 45 pounds, and it has lithium batteries in it. So they're like, it was expensive. It's not like that for all of them. If I got one from the US from like Varla or something like that, $3,000, no problem. And the shipping might be free, but anyways, this scooter this isn't just a scooter, man. This thing's got front and back. It's got dual motors on it. It's got dual hydraulic brakes. It's a lot of fun. For me, look, I'm over 50 years old, and the fact that I can get out and ride these things, I'm doing it because I don't know how much longer I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it. For me, I can get I can go from my place to the store with a backpack, go pick up a few provisions, things that I need, and get back to the house and have a great time doing it. And I haven't used any gas. And now I'm using solar power in these solar generators. I'm using that to charge them. So I'm not even using the
Zero
power from my
impact.
home.
So
Yeah,
you actually
pretty cool.
use these things on a daily. It's not just
Oh
like
yeah.
for review purposes. It's something that you doing.
When I can, we get a lot of wind out here. If the wind's over 20 miles per hour, it's kind of hard to ride a skateboard. But there's too much resistance and all that kind of stuff. Um, what is this? It's Tony's fault because he vapes disposable steam pugs, man. Come on.
I see Craig, big guy, Craig from
Yes.
Obey Robot, and yeah, he says the Requiem gives most of the high-end RDAs a run for their money.
Well, that's good. That's good right there. Well, maybe, whatever I do, maybe I'll say you need to team it up with that. But anyway,
Yaku says,
but yeah.
I finally got my Pulse Aio, and now we're moving to squonking again. Yes, you'll have to get a
No,
squonk. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that, but you need to get the mini. That's the thing.
You got to get
But
the
yeah,
mini.
so mhm. Yeah,
And
but so, it started off with the skateboards, and then, I said, I want a bike. And so what I had to do is build a closet in our stairwell that's upstairs to put the crap that was in the downstairs closet so that my Super 73 bike can fit in that closet. And now the companies are sending me bikes to the storage unit. Where am I
yeah,
going to
because
put
they're
them?
chunky.
Well, I wanted to do is have 4 electric bikes at a time because I live in a tourist or whatever. I want to be able to, my wife and whoever's here to visit, be able to go and ride these bikes. I want to keep 4 at a time. So when I get more than 4, I'm going to off whichever one is my least of 4.
Yeah,
There.
oldest or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So just yesterday and today, finished filming the assembly from Van Powers. All that stuff's hate on the fact that I'm doing other content. All you have to do is watch the vape stuff and not worry about the other stuff.
yeah,
I cannot monetize any of my vape stuff. I can't monetize that. In fact, I have to make it 18 plus, and I have to say that, it's not made for kids. I mean, they're virtually invisible videos when I put up a vape video.
yeah,
The only people that find it are my subscribers, and even they tell me that they don't always get notifications
yeah.
because YouTube wants to shut that down. So don't hate on the fact that I'm actually putting monetizable content up there, and I'm making maybe about $150 a month.
Yeah,
So
and
I
the
mean,
mass decline of vape products actually coming out of China at the moment is also people have to subsidize.
otherwise, not only that, otherwise I would only be putting out maybe one vape video a week, and that's it. So that also makes the channel wither. If you don't put out content,
Yeah,
the channel does not get the same algorithmic treatment. So, hey, look, I'm raising the bar for the channel, and you never know, you might see something to go, dude, I would have never thought about that, but I want one now.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think that's
So
100% the thing is like I like the fact that you stuck on your trig, your iron. Uh, I
yeah,
I would like to see more barbecuing videos from you because that's what I'm interested in. But
Yeah, I
if
need
you
to do
if
more of
you're
these.
into vaping and you'd like the technology, EVs is a very, very close second. You know, like it's something that would interest at least half of us. I have one more question from me, and then I'll want to open questions up to chat. We've
Sure.
got about 10 minutes. Well, we're not
Yeah.
confined by anything, but we'll ask that. Um, in this current climate of YouTube not being very friendly, do you
Mhm.
think if you started today a vape channel, would you get as big as you are?
No,
There's
definitely not.
there's no way. There's no
There,
hope for the kids.
I'm just telling you, look, because people will ask me all the time advice about what cameras do I use, what microphones and all that. And I'm like, well, now look, before you invest too much, I'd probably use, am I frozen?
No, no. I
I'd
just
probably use,
yeah.
okay. I would probably use, oh geez, where was I going? What was I saying?
With the vaping and
Oh,
starting a
I would
channel.
probably I would probably use your phone and maybe get a microphone that a lavalier microphone that plugs into your phone and just keep it simple. If your channel grows, then great. Because the thing is, YouTube, the algorithm ignores vape channels except for trying to penalize them.
Yeah,
Uh, I have to make my videos 18 plus no matter what. Otherwise, they will make it. If I don't make it 18 plus, they will make it 18 plus, and it only takes about 15 minutes. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, age restriction.
and a strike as well. Yeah, I know. I had
Yeah,
to go
and
through my YouTube because I kept on not getting strikes, but I kept on getting these like notifications. And then there's a setting you can actually just say none of my videos are kid friendly, you know. But obviously you
yeah.
have dual purpose videos, so
Well, I still say it's not made for kids, by the way. Even those videos, just because I don't want to bring any unwanted view of my channel by YouTube. It
yep,
sucks, but it is the world that we're playing in. So look, if you're thinking I want to start a vape channel and become, a big vape channel or whatever, well, that might be difficult because first of all, you got to have product. And these companies, all of the Vandy Vape included, have really tightened their promotional budgets. And you might think, well, how much does it cost to send a mod that probably cost them 20 or $30 to make? Well, it's not just that. They have to pay for shipping, they have to pay for the staff to be able to handle all that stuff.
and
And
they've got to
then,
they
a lot
multiply
of,
that by 100 reviewers because
yeah. And then a lot of reviewers are asking for money. So, it's like, well, how are they supposed to do that? So if you're new, you're going to have 1,000 to 5,000 followers before these companies even pay attention to you,
yeah,
at least,
and
because
then
otherwise they're just like, well, you don't have anything for us. They want you to get 1,000 views per video and they want you to get it within a few weeks. Well, if you're a good promoter, maybe if you go promote yourself, but a lot of the Facebook groups that used to be pretty friendly to that, now people are like, don't promote your stuff in here, and all that
yeah,
stuff. So it's
yeah.
harder and harder to promote your stuff. I'm just saying, have reasonable expectations if you want to start a YouTube channel for vaping. It's not going to be an easy road.
And only spend the money that you make from the channel on the camera and the microphone and the computer. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of microphones on my channel now, because I'm reviewing some electronic stuff that you can just plug right into your phone. They only cost $50 for a
Lapel,
lavalier
yeah,
mic that's wireless, and they work really good, better than your camera's microphone.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
um, I mean, just keep it as simple as you can. And if you have to borrow stuff from your friends or whatever, so because I get that a lot too. People will hit me up because they want a sample of the Pulse Aio or whatever, and they're like, well, I mean, I have a review channel. I'm like, let me look at your channel. And I'm like, bro, you got 800
I
followers.
was just
It's
gonna
not
say
enough.
800 followers.
And I'm just being honest with you. I know 800 is a lot, and that's a big achievement. I totally respect that.
Yeah,
But I'm just telling you because I don't make those decisions, but I know who does. And they're going to be like, yeah, you're going to need more subscribers.
yeah. I mean,
So,
on YouTube, I've just cracked 1,000 like a couple weeks ago, and I've never
yeah,
received anything for. I've received a lot of stuff for free, but not because of my channels,
the
more
channel.
because
Yeah,
of
it's
who I
usually
am.
because
Like, so
yeah, and you make stuff and all that. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean it's important.
And then I've got friends like
But
Tony B that slide little emails, and then I get stuff. It's nice.
yeah, and I get biltong and
Yeah,
speckled
there we
eggs every
go.
now
We trade. Well, big guy Craig says, I want that Fat Daddy electric scooter.
Oh, dude, wait until you see it. Hold on a second. Let me see something.
What is the weight
I got a
capacity
picture.
on that? Because big guy's big. Not just
Um,
big,
he was
he's
talking to
really
me.
tall.
He was talking to me about one where you could put a seat on it. Is that right, big guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, something like this. Look at
Oh,
that thing, man.
wow.
That's not just a scooter, dude. That thing's, it's like all terrain, whatever.
Shit.
That company does sell them that has a little thing where you can put a seat post and sit on a seat. I think I'm frozen again. No, I'm not. But yeah, so um, you know, I've sold the two of the scooters that I've already gotten. I've just sold them off. But listen, I don't sell them for a whole lot. I sell it for like $200, where the thing cost 800 or whatever. And I've
Yeah.
only got 10 miles on the thing, that kind of thing. So not trying to you know make bank off of people. I'm like, look, if you want a scooter, I got one. I'm selling it for cheap. But they're kind of heavy and awkward to ship. So it's usually somebody who's local to me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We did that
what
as
was
well. Like, I would, in the early days, and I mean, still now, I do buy vape gear. If I see something that I like and I really want it, I buy something,
right.
or because we need to make all of these acrylics. So I'll
Yeah.
buy an RTA in, keep the glass, make an acrylic version, do a review on it, put my coils in it, put my acrylic on it, and then I'll sell it for the same price that you can find it in the shops. But
Yeah.
it's got a nice pair of coils that's only been used for one tank, and it's got
Yeah.
acrylic on it that's worth a couple of bucks. And we'll just recycle that so that I can buy the next thing to get more products on here.
Right.
Everyone's got to take their different angle. You've got to review the way that you think that people need to see it.
And that, like, for example, with the solar stuff that I'm doing,
Yeah.
I've never been the big, engineering tech guy where I'm putting multimeters on things and stuff. And I don't do that with the solar stations. And I've had a couple, hoity-toity tech guys get in there and they're like, well, you didn't even put it on a multimeter or anything. So the last video that I did, I go, look, I'm reviewing these as a consumer,
Yeah.
somebody who's using this, really using it, so it's not, I don't know about a lot of the tech stuff, but as with anything with vape, I didn't know what I was talking about when I first started reviewing vape.
Yeah.
I was just, hey, I'm pretty sure that you want your ohms to be, that kind of thing. I'm sharing my journey, and that's how it always has been. You know what I mean?
And I think
Um,
that's the most wholesome thing, and that's the reason your channel grew the way it did. I think with the EVs and stuff like that, with a multimeter, that's not the end user. The end user doesn't
no,
have a multimeter. They need it for functionality, or they want to have fun with it on the
right.
weekend. They're not worried
Yeah.
about, oh, this is rated for 21 mAh and it's only coming out at 1980. Like, it's
Well, I kind of
21-ish. Like,
we'll do that a little bit with the electric skateboards because a lot of it is about range. So, if your battery pack isn't what they say it is, then
yeah,
it's
your
important.
review will tell them that. If they say it's a
Yes,
35
exactly.
mile range and you get to 30 miles and you're dead in your video, you go, well, now I got
Yeah.
to walk. That's up
The
to,
other thing about the skateboards, if anybody's looking at those electric skateboards and they're like, oh yeah, the all those numbers that they give you, the range and that stuff, it's usually tested with maybe a 165 pound rider. So yeah, he's gonna get
uh,
incredible range off of that. You know what I mean? It's a 165-pound guy.
yeah.
I weigh 195, 200. I'm not gonna get as much range off of
I
it,
wonder if there's
you
not a
know?
calculation, if you could say, like, if that is tested and rated at 165, what is the difference in ratio for 185, 205, 250, you
Well,
know?
you know who could answer that? And he's actually part of the Eastgate community, believe it or not, Battery Mooch.
Mooch,
Yeah,
yeah.
Battery Mooch. Well, he's a huge part of the Eastgate community, and I found that out after I put a couple of posts up on Instagram. He goes, "Dude, you Eastgate?" was like, yeah, man. He's like, oh man, I do too. Look, I might have him on my show to do a live show about the batteries because they'll say it's a 12S4P battery pack. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think that'll be the most
12
insightful thing.
batteries, four in a row. What does that mean? That kind of thing. Now, he could compute, he could tell you that a 12S4P battery pack should give a 195-pound rider. He could do that. I mean, I can't, but maybe I'll have him on the show to talk
That's a
about
good
that.
idea. Well, we've gone past an hour. I didn't see any questions for you come up. I just see somebody say buffering, but I've been keeping tabs on that, and the stream health is still, stream health is
Jacko
good.
Tilburg says,
Yeah, still
yeah,
3,300 kilobytes per second CPU usage. So nothing's dropped off. 4.6% dropped frames, but I mean that's all right.
yeah. Well, I saw myself freeze a couple times over there, but
Yeah,
it's kind of like
I've
max
been
10.
like doing that little click thing, and yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe I need to update my Zoom as well.
Shrek Vape Review says I need 4 electric bikes per foot.
Yeah, Shrek is
I would
like
like to see that.
he's 6'10" and probably 300
See, that's
pounds.
the other thing.
He's a
Some of
big
these
boy.
bikes are small. Some of them are really big, like the Velotric Nomad that I just reviewed. He could definitely ride that.
What is the maximum weight on one of those?
It depends on which one it is. For example, that Nomad that I just got, the maximum weight on that is about 400 pounds because it's made to be able to use racks and cargo and stuff on it.
Oh shit! I never even
It's a
thought
fat
of
tire
that.
bike.
Like
Yeah. So
panions. You know what a
what's
panion
that?
is? A panion. So it's those boxes that go on the back of BMW motorbikes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
put panions on your scooter, stand in the middle, and then go through the forest.
Yeah. But that stuff, I just have a lot of fun with it. And like I say, I'm 54 years old, dude. If I can do it, I'm doing it because
Sure.
I've had a couple of scares in the last couple of years with health that I'm like, oh shit. you know, this isn't going to last forever. So I'm getting out and riding, man. It's a lot of fun. Plus, look, I live on the coast.
That first bike that you had with the big puff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a Super 70.
I just
The
want
one
that
that looks
bike.
like a little.
Yeah. We would call that a monkey, where like a chopper style that's got a electric motor.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that one's supposed to look like the old cafe racer bikes.
Yeah.
The motorcycles. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Cool. Ashton Palmer, Palmer's Power.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, Tony bought an e-bike last year, first time riding it. I'm riding in over 10 years.
See?
And Ashton's got some really riding like mountains where it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Birdman's awake. That's Birdman from Australia. He's here. We just gone over an hour. Didn't see any questions come up. Tony, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on my first live for 2023. Much appreciated,
Absolutely.
sir. And I think we'll catch up again in the next couple of months.
Sounds great to me.
Looking excitedly forward to squonking this year. Will be great.
And this time, if I do get some treats, I will do a South African treats video.
I'll do a double box this time. I'll do a bigger and better box.
I like it.
Cool. All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your comments, liking, and sharing. Remember to follow Tony B's Vapor Trails channel on YouTube, where you can see things about vaping and other things that interest him, like electronic vehicles, guitars, music, and so on and so forth. Tony, thank you very much for being here, bro. I really appreciate it. You want to say a goodbye there?
Well, adios, folks. See you later.
Yeah.
That's right. Got to get that.
Don't you have one?
I do.
Yeah, you should have.
I
love these things.
Let's see.
I was actually. We need to talk about making EV wheels.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about them in the time that I've been doing this. Um,
Are they
they're
pneumatic? So they
well, a lot
air.
of them are. A lot of
Oh,
them are, but here's the thing. I don't love pneumatic, okay?
no.
Because where I live, we have a lot of little things that can get in there and pop those tires. And it sucks if you get 5, 10 miles away from home and get a flat.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, off. Now what? And so look on my channel, I've got some that are they're airless rubber tires. So they're as big as the pneumatics,
yeah,
but they've got holes, juxtaposing holes on this side and then that side, like so they're like overlapping. So they flex and all that. They're just like the pneumatics. If you were to run the pneumatics at 60 psi, like they
yeah,
say to on the side of the tire, but you get no flats, you
yeah,
know? So yeah. Then there's also like the wheel that I sent you the pictures for that you made that modeled that after the
yeah.
cloud wheel style. Those wheels, they're nice wheels. They're usually pretty big. They're about 120 millimeters round, so that's a big wheel.
We can do that.
The key is the core, right? The key is getting your core to be fixed inside the material good enough that it
Doesn't shred it.
that it won't
Well, this has got a
disconnect.
that's a chemical fix. So that bearing cage inside there is
Yeah,
chemically fixed. So if
yeah,
we need to
we could
make the
definitely
bearing
do that.
cage out of aluminium, that can be done as well.
Yeah, see now a lot of companies do that. As a matter of fact, here, look, let me bring this over here real quick. Okay, see that wheel right there?
Yeah, yeah,
That's aluminum, and it's got the holes. Yeah, you can see those holes. And then there's the other type, like this one right here,
yeah.
which
Perfect.
says that's the cloud wheel.
Well, we can do that.
Yeah, look at that.
Some
Yeah,
people,
it's getting crazy.
yeah,
Like I said, I had to get a storage unit because, first of all, when these things come in, you know, the boxes for them are big. And I don't want to get rid of the boxes because if I do ever sell one, it's better to have the box. Plus, there's parts that come with it that are inside the box and all that. So I live in a condo, man. Where am I going to put all these fucking things? Plus the bikes, they're big. So I got a storage. Figure it's only $135 a month, and I'll just put that as a business expense.
yeah, write it off. Anyway,
Yep.
okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to go pop off to Valhalla. For those of you that don't know, Valhalla is my Patreon live. So it's a Zoom room where you get to chat with Tony or whichever guest we've had. If we don't have a guest, just chat with the other Patreons from all over the world. It costs you $5 a month, $5 a month. We don't have different tier levels. We only have $5, and that'll get you into the Zoom and nothing else. Easy. And good night. We're all done.
Youth.
1 minute and 10 minutes. 1 hour, 10 minutes about. Cool. Thank you very much, Tony. We'll see you now